Station, an interesting map, one of the newer maps, and it's actually first pick for
Huck.
Huck.
So that's an interesting choice. So hold on, this is the one with the gold bases, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, just making sure. So this is an interesting choice. I feel like unless you play a very certain style of Protoss, I feel like gold bases favor Terran and Zerg more than Protoss. I don't know if the Zerg expands there as a third base, it opens up the option for so many like heavy Roach Ling plays, and the Protoss seems really pressured. I would be really nervous as a Protoss to let a Zerg just sit on 3 bases with the gold being the third, because of the timing attack potential that opens up.
Yeah, or even the natural. I prefer to take the gold as a natural, but
we're not all cats.
Yeah,
we're not all that brave, I guess.
But regardless, it's still a decent Protoss map in the sense that it's pretty choky, and the thirds are really close to each other if the Protoss chooses to take the gold as their third. So there is, the Zerg needs less drones on this map essentially. If you're taking the third as your gold base, you need less drones, which translates into you can make more units earlier, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be at a big advantage going into the later game.
Definitely.
Because mining the gold is pretty much mining at normal base.
Because there are less patches overall, even if the income is increased.
Correct. So the income from a saturated base and saturated gold is actually pretty similar. But, you need less drones, so you can be a little bit safer if the Protoss doesn't choose to hit a timing before your gold income comes in.
There are some people that have played certain styles. I want to say, is SOS the Tempest guy? The Crazy Tempest game?
For sure.
Faux show. There are certain Protoss styles where you can turtle up and do crazy stuff with Tempest. I don't know how popular that is on this map in the professional arena. But I know in the dredges of North America Ladder, which I guess is a little bit more true to this tournament than others since these are NA players. Tempest can be really scary on this map. Actually, it's not even to bash. Tempest can be really scary on this map because they can cover a lot of bases. You can cover almost 4 or 5 bases by barely moving around a few Tempests if you hold the points right outside the
same thing can be said about Swarm Hosts for the Zerg, though.
Very true. This
is a pretty easy map to split for the exact same reasons that Tempests are powerful. But yeah, Tempests, or any air units for that matter, are really particularly strong on this map because of the air distance between both thirds.
Definitely.
So that also makes Muta pretty popular, and there's a lot of airspace as well in the back there from main to main. So air units are definitely pretty good, but this is for the most part, before heading into the late game, before you can get that set up, it can be a pretty aggressive map because it's the Protoss gonna let the Zerg take and mine that base, the gold.
Definitely.
It's a really interesting dynamic. It kind of forces engagements a little bit earlier than on other maps, perhaps. We're actually still on the loading screen. Kane having a little bit of problems loading, apparently.
Is it Kane?
I sure hope it's Kane.
Looks like, would you say that Kane could probably benefit from having a system from V3?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
V3, one of the sponsors of Root. One of those 3960 Xboxes would be loading this up in a jiffy. One of those solid state drives, right?
That would be beautiful. 69GX. Is that what you said?
I think so.
Good. So,
what do you, how's the weather today?
It's actually pretty good. It's sunny
pretty
outside.
Nice.
Yeah, I like it. And not too hot, not too cold. It's a little bit hot in here because of the lights that we got. We were prepared for this sort of light coming out of the window, so we got these lights that are really hot. Does that make sense?
Not at all. I didn't follow that at all. You were prepared for the light coming out the window, so you got these lights that are really hot. Oh, that are really bright, but they happen to be hot, right?
Correct. They're really bright, and as a result of that, they're actually pretty hot.
Have you ever seen a lag screen on the loading screen?
I've never seen a lag screen on the loading screen, actually. That was quite impressive. So, that's cool.
We got, did everybody get dropped from the game or just us? Oh,
yeah, it looks like Kane is having a little bit of technical difficulties here.
Are you sure it's Kane?
Yes, you have to blame it on Kane.
Why Kane? I like Kane. Why would Kane blame it on Hug? The audience
Because
doesn't know the
Kane
difference.
wasn't loaded.
Yeah, but they can't see that. Could they see that Kane wasn't loaded? Well, yeah, see, so we can blame
But
Hug.
he's in Europe. It's better if we blame Kane.
That's true, because North America is the best, right? Europeans will do whatever they can to bring this scene down, I think. Do you ever get that feeling sometimes, that Europeans just want NA to fail?
Yeah.
There are a few super vocal. I don't know, Thorin comes to mind, if you guys are familiar with that guy. Man, I feel like Thorin is a perfect symbol of the European hatred towards North America. Do you feel that way?
Actually, I think there was a qualifier for IAM. And, was it IAM? And Jachi, alongside with the other 4GG.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and Mana qualified. So, Europe not holding today. I love Europe, though. European players are really strong. There's a lot of incredibly strong European players.
I think the saying is good players, bad people, right? Is that what you say that describes?
Europe? As a country,
to be fair, yeah, the country of Europe.
yeah, the country of Europe.
To be fair, for the WCS qualifiers, Europeans were knocking out them Koreans left and right, man.
Yeah, Europe held.
Europe held.
Yep, not today. Today they didn't hold, or last night, whenever that qualifier was. But Europe definitely.
We're showing impressive
strong,
games in the
pretty strong
WCS
country, yeah,
qualifiers.
absolutely. So, Kane training in Europe, actually. We'll see his European roots here.
Impressive.
Yeah, going back to Canada soon, I believe, as his visa is probably about to run out.
Just waiting on Huck to join the game now.
Yeah. And Huck is in America right now. He's Canadian-American.
He's really in America, not Canada? Or do you mean like North America?
He has dual citizenship, I believe.
Really? You
Yeah.
can do that with America?
Yep. He could choose either flag. He chooses the Canadian one, I think.
What do you think that says about his character?
I'm not sure. I think he was actually born in America, then lived most of his life in Canada. Now he's back in America, has dual citizenship, and chooses Canada to wear as his flag. So.
But he was born in America, so when he hits 45, he could still run for president. of the United
Absolutely,
States, right?
he could. Yeah.
I don't remember what the requirements are. Do you have to be in the country for 10 years?
Are you really asking me?
I mean, how long have you been in America? If you're older than me, you might have been here longer than me.
No.
There's been too much stuff online about me. I don't know if I could make a run for president, so I don't keep up with the requirements anymore. As vigilantly as I did when I was
If Bill
a child.
Clinton has anything to go by, you might be okay in the requirements.
But he did that after he already got into office, you know?
Oh, true that.
Yeah, if that had happened before.
Mhm.
Anyway, we have, hey, we're actually in the game. With the players on the map in the tournament. The MLG GameOn 16-player Invitational.
Can you believe it?
Can you believe it, that we actually got this far? I can't.
I can't. It's pretty hard to believe. Anyways,
Let's introduce the players, okay?
why don't we do that?
Alright, in the top left, the orange Protoss American-Canadian Warrior. Huck.
Yep,
PG
from
Huck.
Evil Geniuses.
From Evil Geniuses. He's still on that team.
Yep, very nice zoom in. And on the top right-hand corner, as the pink Zerg, choosing pink, bold. My Insanity's Kane.
You can definitely see that European influence starting to show, just with the Zerg color, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a pretty European pink, I would say. Very. He has been living in Europe.
That's very good, yeah.
Yep.
We established
At
that.
the MYI house. I think it's Denmark. Is it in Denmark? No, probably not in Denmark. Switzerland. Yeah, I believe it's in Switzerland.
Gotcha.
So Jachi actually lives at the house as well. Teammates with Kane. That's not going to help them here, though. This is a CVP that we have. And Kane going for the pool first.
Oh, that was so sneaky.
Pretty sneaky.
He, a lot of Zerg players, when they go to take that expansion, they just send the drone right on down there. Not Kane.
Not Kane.
Not Kane. Drone went off to the side.
Yep.
Faked out the probe.
Doing the proper thing as well. Following the probe with a drone until he realizes with his order that there is no Nexus or Forge on the low ground. So he's going to be okay letting the probe do whatever it wants. What is this building we have right there?
Probably a cyber core.
Yeah, most stuff. So We have a Cybercore going down, just one gas, pretty standard opener from Huck so far. We could probably expect to see a Nexus pretty soon.
Pretty good opening for Kane. That's a perfect opening for Kane. He got the pull down when he wanted to. He got the hatch down when he wanted to, which probably shouldn't have happened, given when Huck sent that probe scout. I know that Huck didn't want it to happen. You saw the probe pull back there as soon as he noticed what was going on. It was a little bit late. Kane got his scout off. He sees everything that's going on. Got a couple of opening lings headed out onto the field here. 4 lings. If you get these 4 lings out early enough, sometimes, depending on the exact timing of all the Protoss stuff, you could take out a pylon. The Protoss is set on the low ground. Maybe take out a probe if the Protoss have been careless. Although this is Huck, we shouldn't see that.
Oh, but we might. It looks like the pylon goes down at the worst possible time.
We'll see the pylon go down.
Yeah, an extra pylon already being warped in, so he's happy canceling that.
I don't think that one's gonna. The Stalker's just now popping out. There's no way that Stalker's gonna get down there in time.
Yeah, and the Mothership Core just started as well, so a little bit greedy by Huck not making that sell first, going straight for the Stalker, wanting to apply some pressure before link speed kicks in. So he's going to move out on the map with that Stalker, but Kane already did pretty decent damage with his 4 links.
Definitely.
Yeah, and, you know, making 4 links, not something we see on every game. And that's just because you could make 2 links and make a drone instead.
Glad to see those 4 links out there. There's a popular NA streamer who opens with an early pool, and will often open with those 4 links. He can do similar damage when you send those 4 links. I don't remember the name, slips my mind right now, but obviously Kane has been doing his homework.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean,
We
is
did
that what
see
you do?
Yeah, that's what I do.
Oh, okay.
But I'm really
I don't
bad.
really watch your streams.
Why not?
What? No, I do watch it. I'm just kidding. I just don't pay attention to the game.
Whatever. Well, then what are you watching for? The
The
hilarious commentary in my awesome
Mostly
chat?
the chat. I like over rustling.
Thanks.
So
We do have link speed coming out. Almost done. We've got the 3rd down. Kane has his overlords in position to send them in, hopefully within the next 30 to 45 seconds to figure out... Or did I say Kane has his overlords in position?
yeah, you did.
Yeah, Kane's got his overlords in position to figure out what's
Good
going on. We got a group of lings running to the main. It should be blocked. He only has a Stalker there. Warp gate's just finished. There is a sentry down there, though, so we can't force build.
Yeah, a little bit of a risk by Kane, you could say, in making those links. I mean, of course they serve as defense. You can scout for pylons, and if Huck is to be aggressive, then you can shut it down pretty easily before the aggression ever begins. So that's probably the main thought process of Kane there, but having made those links, probably not something he wanted to do, and is dropping a Roach Warren regardless. So it's a little bit counterproductive, in my opinion, to, you know, get that speed and the links out early, and have the Roach Warren in time to defend the attack as well.
He got the Roach Horn pretty late. I think that started at around 6:30-ish. Well, I guess that's not that late. He doesn't have Overlord in the base. Came through. He didn't see much of anything except for the gases mining.
Yeah, and Kane's gonna be wondering what is Huck doing right now. I'm not sure if he saw the Forge upgrading, but you know, Huck is on 4 gases. Kane scouted 3 of them. The 4th one is almost a given when you see 3. Most of the time you'll see 4, but he didn't actually see any tech going down. So he has to be wondering. He's poking with the links. He wants to see a Stargate. He wants to see a Robo, and he wants to transition from there. But Huck is actually just on a Forge, so he's gonna be pretty Sentry heavy. He's gonna be pretty Stalker heavy. All that gas has to go somewhere.
Would definitely like to see the that Overlord that Kane has poking through the back. I feel like anytime as a Zerg player, when you see the Forge getting chronoed...
3 gateways going down.
You know,
and look at this. Look at this. Kane dropping 3 Spore Crawlers. And this is a result of not seeing that tech, but seeing the gases. So Kane sees the gases, doesn't see the tech. He has to prepare. What does Spore Crawlers do? They're okay against Observers. They're great against Stargates. And they're also fantastic against Dark Templar.
Sure. But he has this Overlord back here. Man, he waited until he could make it into an Overseer. Seeing that +1 being chronoed on the Forge, I feel is such a giveaway to heavy gateway pressure. You can do
Did
like
he see
Stargate.
it?
No, he didn't. He never set the Overlord in the
exactly.
back.
So
he
so
does see all the gateways warping in now. Huck just dropped 3 chronos. If he doesn't know what's going on now...
Yeah, he definitely knows by now. And he's producing roaches. He's got roach speed on the way. But those 3 Spore Crawlers are actually quite expensive. They're 125 minerals each. So, you know, that's a few more roaches that he could have had. But Kane's still looking in okay position. Great force fields by Huck. He's going to pick off at least 3 roaches, it looks like. And Kane with nice positioning as well, but great force fields again by Huck. Huck is just going to be happy going back to his base for now. I'm not sure if
I don't think
he's
that's
going to be happy is...
I I don't think that did enough damage. If you check the harvester count, Kane almost had a 10-worker lead, although he's invested a bit into spines and now gases and whatnot. Oh, although now he just had more harvesters pop out. I'm not sure if that did the damage that Huck needed it to do. He has an upgrade, but he doesn't have any powerful tech to fall back on. His Robo is almost coming online. He does have a Twilight Council down, no blink or charge upgrades coming from it yet.
Yeah, and from the Robo, we're probably going to see Observer right away and then Immortals, if anything. Otherwise, he might just stay on Gateway Tech for a little while. Like I said, Huck really favors that style. He really likes it. It's a really mobile style, really active style. And if we think about Huck's thought process here, perhaps he was thinking Kane is going to take the gold, and that is a lot better to hit with Sentries and Stalkers than the the wide open third that Kane took. Sure. So Kane perhaps also thinking ahead. I mean, it is a pretty safe third to take, by all means.
Yeah, that's a very good point. As a Zerg, I would probably, as a no-brainer, I would just take that third without even thinking about it. But knowing that you're up against an opponent that favors a gateway-heavy style, and knowing how brutal sentries can be, it's entirely possible that there is an entire overlay to this game of Huck planning on his opponent. Oh my god, the surround was so nice coming in from both sides here.
Yeah, really nice, but Huck sectioning off a good number of roaches. There's an Immortal doing a lot of damage in the back, and he needs to drop a couple more force fields, but definitely. I think Huck is going to hold just barely here. Oh,
I don't know. The force field energy is pretty light here. He is going to lose a lot of sentries, assuming Kane targets him down, which he is doing. He did get the Immortal. No force fields left on these sentries here. There are reinforcements streaming across the map. Probably not enough to actually close the game out, but that was a pretty big loss of gas for Huck here. The only error that I would give Kane here is I'm surprised not to see a fourth coming down here, especially at the... Oh, well, there we go, never mind. He has the fourth queued up for the gold.
Yeah, and actually we see the Stormhost Locust upgrade, so we're going to be seeing Stormhost, and Stormhost is one of the hardest counters to Gateway Heavy Composite. Yeah, and definitely. That's because there's no AoE in Gateway styles.
No AoE, no High Templar. You might see Protoss throw down some Panic Force fields, but I mean, that only lasts for 1 or 2 waves.
There's going to be very little room to you know, like you said, force fields will buy you time, but for what? Huck is getting blink. The mobility is something that Huck does have going for him. But Kane still applying pressure. This is going to be non-stop, and he's starting to make Stormhosts as well. I think he's going to be aggressive with those Stormhosts too.
We are light on the force field energy here. You got a little bit left, but not really enough.
Yep, it looks like Kane is closing in on Huck's army, and this might be it for this game pretty soon here.
Maybe. Surprised to see Kane back off here. Maybe he just wants to apply pressure to the third?
Yeah, it's possible. Or, you know, those units are going to become more powerful even when the Locusts arrive.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah, Huck is in a pretty tough spot right now. Kane doing great at applying pressure. Normally when I play Stormhosts, I like to play him a lot more passively. Kane being really aggressive prior to Stormhosts. And this is pretty cool.
Which is nice, because, as Kat said earlier, the counter to Stormhost, like, you want to get that big AoE out, right? The Colossus, the laser beams, the classic Protoss, Death Ball. But if you're constantly being needled by the Zerg, it's really hard to get that out. And you can't really, I say you can't really fault Huck here for not having a good response to the Stormhost, because what Protoss is thinking ahead to Stormhost when a Zerg is constantly streaming Roachling into his base?
Yeah.
And I would have to say, not playing Protoss, I feel like it would be pretty sickening to be holding off this pressure as barely as you are, and then to see those Locusts just starting
Huck
to
doing the
swarm
right
into
thing
your
though.
base.
Like he's evading the Locusts. If he can get to the Stormhosts, then you know he could kill him. Kane really smartly repositioning the Stormhosts right away after firing. And Huck, this is what Huck needs to do. He needs to be the person out on the map. He needs to be the one avoiding the Locusts. The Locusts have a timed life, so if he can avoid the Locusts and get in and trade before the next wave, then that's what he wants to do with his sort of unit composition. Fighting it head-on is never going to go well for the Protoss. Huck's still adding Immortals, and this is a little bit frightening. I mean, Immortals are great against Stormhosts, don't get me wrong, if they can get on top of them. They will force-shot Stormhosts, which is, you know, pretty amazing. They don't fire slow by any means. But
one thing that I find that Protoss are constantly underestimating is you cannot stand inside Swarmhost fire.
Yeah.
It might seem like you can take it and kill a Swarmhost real fast. You do have a Lingman bite. Oh, that's such a nice one. We'll pick off. You cannot sit inside of a bunch of Locusts shooting at you. Your army will evaporate instantaneously. I don't know if it's because the Locust looks weak or you just don't think about it that much, but even if you get right up to the Swarmhost, you've got to be careful not to stand inside that fire for very
Yeah,
long.
it's really hard to gauge the locust numbers and the timer that they have left on them. So some protos will fight him like Huck is doing right now, and then
And you
think
can see
that
right
maybe
there.
maybe you can push in. But if you don't know how far away the storm hosts are from the locusts, then it's gonna be pretty tough because you're probably gonna be running into the next wave and
Yep.
end up retreating,
And
just like we see here.
oh, but he doesn't have it on A move. There we go. Oh, that's 2 sentries gone so far from Stormhost Fire. Those zealots in the front just evaporate. We've
Yeah.
got another sentry, almost, not quite.
Oh, the observer gets picked off, and that's
Oh,
actually gonna
man.
put an end to Huck's aggression here. Kane kind of taking a small risk in just burrowing the Stormhost really close to Huck's army there. But at the same time, he picked off the Observer. He might have been baiting it. He might have been saying, hey, come here, because, you know, I got Corruptors. And I'm ready to pick off your Observer.
A little bit of a misposition. I don't think Kane has his rallied correctly. No, he doesn't.
Well, it's, you know,
Maybe he just has him rallied there in case the Protoss goes off.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
down,
He's
so that he
he's
can
got
defend.
yeah, exactly. If he doesn't have vision, he probably feels more comfortable rallying the Locust a little bit closer. Let's remember he's playing this pretty aggressively. He doesn't have a lot of static defense like we usually see with the Stormhost style.
Sure.
So he's just rallying the Locust really close because if he gets flanked, then he'll lose all of them.
Definitely, and that's exactly what we're about to see go on right now. The Locusts were rallied down. Oh, but he was able to reposition him.
Great blink, and this is exactly the Stormhost's weakness. You know, mobility.
Definitely.
They're pretty bad at moving. So we see Huck abusing that a little bit, picking off a few drones, but still no transition from. Oh, actually, we have Immortals on the way and
Colossus?
Yeah, Colossus on the way. And
2
we
at a
just-
time.
Yeah, and that's great.
So, I don't know about you. I actually don't like this response from Protoss. If I'm a Zerg player, I like to see them trying to go Colossus because I feel like Queen Corruptor can shut that down pretty hard. I get more scared when I see the Protoss tending towards a heavy, like, Tempest-y kind of composition. Because I feel like that gives them the ability to really play. I feel like when you do this Colossus route, you're looking for the Zerg to make a really big mistake before you can move in. But if the Zerg plays it smart, and they constantly keep their distance with Queen Corruptor, I feel like it's really hard to actually get in close enough with those Colossus to deal the damage that you need to do to the Swarm Host. How do you feel about Colossus as a counter to Swarm Host?
I think Colossus are great if you're trying to hit a timing, and the thing about Colossus, you have to overmake them, right?
Yeah.
Because like
Oh,
you said, you like the Zerg has queens, the Zerg has Corruptors, most importantly. So if you're not overmaking Colossus against Storm Hosts, your push is just
Exactly.
not gonna work.
And
You
that's
need-
another problem too. You can't have 2 or 3 Colossus. You need like 8 or 9. It almost looks like a PvP.
Exactly, and that
way.
sounds silly, right? And every Protoss player might be, you know, watching might be like, oh, what are you talking about? Well, 5 is enough to like push the Locust waves. Yeah, but as soon as you lose one to a Viper, to a Corruptor, you can no longer push. So you have to account for losses, in my opinion, when you're facing Stormhost with Colossus. Huck's not really doing that. He's just going for the 4 Colossus. Oh, he's actually still producing them, so
Yep.
that's fine. And
Broodlords and Corruptors on the way though for Kane.
yeah, that's an issue. And this is a really late timing by Huck, right? He started producing the Colossus, and he's out on the map with Colossus at 21 minutes in. That's
Yeah.
pretty late. I prefer the Tempest transition. I think that
Definitely.
Colossus are probably needed early on, but you know, Huck went from a Gateway transition into Colossus transition. This is great for Huck though. Picking off a few units there.
Yep, but I feel like going into the Colossus also, I didn't even think about this because I don't even see Protoss going to Colossus that much anymore. The Broodlords, what do you do?
I mean,
With-
it's tough. This
yeah.
is a really popular
You can't-
style right now in Korea.
You can't really blink under the Broodlords because you have the Swarm Host, the Locust there, will just absolutely annihilate you.
Yeah, and I'm actually really surprised to not see any Stargates being dropped down right now.
Yeah, this is I don't feel like Protoss can really ever like I said, but unless the Zerg makes a huge mistake or like disconnects from the game, I don't see Protoss ever being able to effectively push in. I mean, these little Zealot run bys and everything are good, and they help to throw the Zerg off balance, but he needs to do so much damage with these Zealot run bys just because he's never, ever, ever going to be able to fight here. And he walks 4 High Templar into the Locust. He ends up losing 2, maybe 3. 3.
Yeah, that's
Almost 4 High Templar. Those kinds of mistakes. Huck is not the one that needs to be making mistakes in this game.
yeah, that's Huck's game right now is basically. Oh, and he has a pretty good number of Colossus. I should point that out. So
Sure.
Huck definitely knows how to do that. Huck's game right now is I'm gonna be the Zerg this game, right? I'm gonna avoid your army. I'm gonna kill your economy, and I'm gonna have better economy. Now we see the Stargate transition. So Huck's idea is never to kill the Zerg, I think, as much as it is to control him with this sort of way more mobile army compared to the Stormhost.
Sure.
Now, Kane could have a lot more static defense at this point, especially against the composition that we're seeing from Huck. Now we see Vipers added. Great.
Warp Prism on the gold too. Very, very, very good.
So
Only one spine there.
Huck is playing, I think, a fantastic game. In terms of how he is using the army composition that he has. Is it the right army composition? Well, it's all relative. I think StarCraft is a beautiful game because of that. There's a million answers
The
to
most
whatever you
beautiful
want.
game.
The most beautiful game, probably.
Wisecaster once said, I don't remember his name, but one of the most beautiful games ever seen. Was it Tasteless? Or
It was probably Tasteless.
I think
or Tosis.
Was it Tasteless? It might have been Tasteless that wrote that blog. He blogs a lot about StarCraft too, I think.
Yeah.
An important thing that Katz brings up is that when you talk about army comps, there's a lot of inferred stuff going on there. And so while earlier me and Katz were kind of criticizing Huck for his army comp, we were looking at that from one particular style of play. Huck is kind of using the wrongish army comp, but that would just be for a straight-on head fight. For what he's doing, this run-around, Warp Prism harass style, kind of poking down the fourth and other things, it's actually a great army comp for that. Tempests are really slow. It can be hard to play that style with Tempest. So Huck is actually doing the right stuff. And as Kat said earlier, there are different options and different ways to approach, different games with different armies. And when you have different kinds of armies, you do play them differently than with other kinds of armies.
It is a strategy game after all. And
Definitely.
I mean, and that is to say, you guys watching at home are going to be like, oh, should I make this against Stormhost? Well, are you going to do what Huck is doing, or are you going to try to fight head on?
Exactly.
And the answer
And I think
is,
that's an important question, because when you're in Silver League or Gold League, your mind hasn't been capped with creativity like it has been when you're a pro gamer. When you're a pro gamer, the creativity's been sucked dry from you.
No.
From playing this game. Yes.
Maybe you speak for yourself.
Well, who would you be referring to as a creative player?
Me.
Oh, but exactly. But I was talking about pro players having the creativity sucked from them.
Right. Okay, that's an excellent point.
So yeah, if you're Gold or Silver League, man, don't restrict yourself to copying builds from these clowns. You can think up your own awesome, amazing stuff. Post about it on forums. Criticize pro players for not doing your awesome.
What works on your level of play? You may not be seeing the metagame is different everywhere. For example,
my goodness.
Maximus Black or Destiny, the metagame at their level of play is a lot different than for a pro player like myself. So
really good control from Kane. I specifically won't use this army comp because controlling Broodlords and Swarmhost and Infestors and Vipers all at the same time, that's hard stuff. Usually what happens is actually what you see happening right now, we just start losing units for free. Those were very nice pulls though. He landed some fungals on that group of units. The Locust came out, took out a whole bunch of stuff that was fungal. Vipers are running around pulling stuff. I actually want to see. Oh man, where's GameHeart? Where's the RT guy at? Can you not see the hotkeys of the people playing?
Oh, Huck made a terrible mistake. He's just now researching thermal lands, so he didn't have thermal lands before.
What? Wait, no. That's the Protoss air weapons.
Is it? Because it says extended thermal lands. It looks like it's bugged.
Oh yeah. No, that's bugged. That's not bugged for a while.
No.
Don't worry about that.
Okay.
We didn't raise enough money for GameHeart, I guess, to iron out all those glitches.
Yeah, not yet.
I'm just kidding.
Huck slowly transitioned into an army composition that is going to be able to take the Zerg army head on, provided that he controls his army properly. Kane, on the other hand, going for a more Roro style to Roro. Damn.
Oh, that was almost really close. I thought he was going to walk his whole army into that.
Yeah, that would have been bad.
That would have been bad.
So Roro really favors a lot of Vipers. I personally don't like to make too many Vipers. I prefer more Infestors. Kane favoring more Vipers, less Infestors, more Corruptors, more Swarmhosts. And that's going to be fine as well. It's very reliant, I feel like, on the Protoss feedbacks. But at the same time, the Broodlords are there. So the Broodlords are going to be great if Kane can focus down those High Templars. And Huck actually doesn't have many High Templars at all.
Correct.
So this is really scary position by Huck. Because what's to stop those Tempests from abducting pretty much everything?
Well, because Tempests
Well, the answer is clear now.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah, no, that's very true. You need High Templar. Man, this one High Templar has 2 feedbacks loaded onto it, but, man, you need if you don't have High Templar, there are cartoons made that will show you what will happen if you let the tentacle arms of those Vipers go unchecked for too long. Mm-hmm. And let me tell you, it's not pretty.
It ain't.
We have a lot of Christian audience members out there that would not appreciate how nasty this game would get if Hug doesn't throw some High Templar into his army, which he did. Thank goodness for that.
Yeah, thank goodness.
Thank goodness.
He still has a lot of Stalkers, a lot of Immortals. He probably doesn't want that in his army composition when it, when it comes down to having the best army composition possible. So why is he not trading them, Catch? Well, that would be because he doesn't have a lot of money. He doesn't have a lot of gas. He needs more bases. He needs more bank. And then he can start trading those units. He can trade the Immortals for a base, perhaps, or even try to pick up some Swarm Hosts. Maybe use some War Prism. It's really important to note that when you split the map against Swarm Hosts, the money is almost irrelevant, the minerals.
Almost, yeah. But
Right.
you have to be careful not to make that classic Cat's mistake where you go to trade off your army before you have enough money to replace it.
Yeah,
and I can't
absolutely.
tell you how many times, how disappointing it is when I'm up late at night and my Fubar 2000 is broke or my hard drive isn't loading my music and I just want to turn on Cat's list of some tunes
Yeah.
and I see him go to trade off those large armies without having the money to replace it.
Yeah, that's
classic mistake. But
Classic mistake. It's a classic Cat's mistake, and that's fine.
Warp Prism's
cool.
still coming in. It would be nice to see some Spore Crawlers here.
Yeah, that would be great.
Some
And,
kind of defense.
I mean, there's no creep extending there, but it
This
looks
is the
like he's gonna hide it
classic.
down.
This is the classic Destiny move, pulling your entire army to kill the Warp Prism. Probably not the best idea there.
Yeah, and again, that's not a big deal for Huck. Those 600 minerals, he has plenty of minerals. He's gonna have more minerals. By the time he's mined out, he's gonna have a ton of minerals and not a lot of gas. Oh no!
Oh, the monster fungus.
No!
The monster fungus.
You did not walk up that ramp. Not with
Oh,
that.
but he did a recall out. Really
Did he-
nice.
What did anything die?
I don't-
Everything died.
Nothing
All
important.
the High
died.
Templars died.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Man, he's,
The
he's
fungal-
got the bank though. He was just trading off the High Templar so he can make new ones that aren't hardened with the experience of combat. The Tempests are not the Tempests are able to get out. He was able to pick off both Colossus with the Corruptors though.
Yeah. Huck warping in 20 cells. This is a
Holy
mean
shit.
That's a lot of gateways he has, by the way.
That's 40 supply worth of cell. I thought Zerg was supposed to be the one that remax real fast.
Yeah. Well, he needs to trade off his minerals right now, right? And
Sure.
behind this, you might be thinking, oh, like, is this his plan? No, those cells are dead. He's sending them to
What do
their
you
death.
think? Uh-oh.
Carriers.
Carriers?
I
Are
like
we
that.
playing Starbow?
We must be playing Starbow.
Because
Carriers. Carriers are actually fantastic units against the Stormhost unit
Definitely.
composition. In my personal opinion, the best unit composition that a Protoss can get to fight head-on against a composition like Kane has contains carriers, perhaps not in super large amounts. Some Void Rays are nice, just a nice balanced air unit composition, as silly as that sounds. Balanced air unit composition.
balanced unit composition.
Yeah, you want a few Tempests. You definitely want an Oracle. Why do you want an
Carriers.
Oracle? Destiny?
Why do you want an Oracle?
Yeah, why?
That's a good question. It's hard for me to know because normally I don't let Protoss get to this point. However, the Oracle's good because it gives you the ability to spot long distances for your Tempest to rain hell down onto the enemy Zerg player.
So what the Oracle is going to do, you were thinking it at home, it's just Revelation. What Revelation is going to do is it's going to spot units for you for a period of time. So if you cast Revelation, say, on Stormhost, on Infestors, Vipers, probably Infestors and Vipers being the best targets that you can get there. That was a nice pickup by Huck, by the way.
Yeah.
Both Spires going
Kane
down.
needs to do something about the Warp Prism, whether he's leaving 4 Corruptors up there or... What's the bare number of Corruptors that you need to leave to kill a Warp Prism before it warps in, Cats?
It depends, because War Prism can actually outrun Corruptors. Did you know that, Steven?
Yeah, of course, if you have the speed upgrade, which Huck does or doesn't have. What do you think?
Speed upgrade.
Why don't you take a look at this Warp Prism? Is that speed upgraded?
I don't think so.
It looks speed upgraded to me. You don't think it is?
Really? No, it's not.
Are you sure? It's moving
Yes.
pretty fast. You don't think that's speed upgraded? Let's click on the robo and find out. Can you click on the robo and find out? I'm pretty sure it's... What do you think? Oh, yeah, there we go. We have our, we've got our resident Protoss Pro player on board for consultation. He says it is, in fact, upgraded with speed.
Oh, that's impressive. Okay.
Anyways.
Yeah, I was finishing a thought before you
Oh, yeah,
interrupted
I'm
me,
sorry.
so,
Go ahead.
the-
Yeah, go for
what
it.
the Oracles are going to do
Yeah,
is
Revelation.
is going to
Spot
make it so
for the
that the Tempests can snipe out the Infestors and the Vipers. So, Tempests are actually the longest ranged unit in the game.
Really?
Yep.
Was that before or after the... Do they need the range upgrade for that, or do they...
There's no range upgrades.
Okay, gotcha.
Was that Okay.
Wasn't that a recent patch? They just recently patched it with the Spore Crawler root time, didn't they?
Yeah.
I must be listening to the wrong casters because I thought that was kind of recent. Never mind.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyways.
So we have
Oh, big fight going down.
big fights going down. Wow! Oh my
Huck
God!
is
The
a really good arbitral
fungals.
decision. Mothership is what I would like to see here. What the mothership does is it obviously cloaks your units,
Yeah.
and you might be thinking, why do I need to do that? What about
He
overseers?
lost all the High Templar.
Yeah,
he
this
has
is-
nothing to protect his
exactly.
units from the and the
From
mothership
the
core.
from
It's
the
gonna get
Locust.
abducted.
Everything's gonna get
Everything.
wrecked.
He doesn't have the energy for it. No, Huck. What happened? He played this beautifully. This isn't right.
Yeah, this isn't right, and
isn't fair.
perhaps not enough experience against this sort of.
Perhaps not
composition.
enough balance. This is disgusting. Why does Zerg have to... Huck did all the right moves, tech switched beautifully throughout the entire game, makes one little mistake, and now all the free Zerg units of the Swarm host just comes in and cleans everything up. That's disgusting.
Okay, so
Huck definitely
let's
played
go over
better.
that fight. Let's go
Huck
over that
definitely
fight.
played better this game.
This is the problem here, Steven.
Yeah.
Is as much as I know you're joking, there might be people that are actually thinking that. So let's talk about it.
Well, I figure only a fraction of our audience, like 10%, actually plays the game, so I figure there's not that much of a risk.
This is true. Anyways, right now the game is all about cost efficiency. If we go to the units lost tab, we are gonna see that Huck has lost a lot more.
Were you expecting?
No. I was
Oh,
expecting
yeah.
to see that, and that's to my point. I mean, Huck just lost a ton of army, and what he needed to do at this point in the game is just trade little by little. You're splitting the map. It's eventually gonna get mined out. You need to kill units and not have your units die. How do you do that? Mothership. Mothership is gonna prevent abducts for the most part. It's not easy to abduct the mothership. You can't. It's hard to spot the High Templars. It's gonna deny almost all the locust damage, unless you want to sacrifice overseers. But hey, those cost money and gas as well.
It's also really important what Kat was saying. There's two different approaches. The game changes dramatically when you split the map. Those kinds
Right.
of games are way different than anything because everything else beforehand is all about different timings and expansion timings and attack timings and harassment. When you get into these really late game scenarios where you split the map and both players are doing really kind of turtly hard to attack into styles, at that point your entire focus on the game needs to change. You need to back off. You need to chill out. You need to have everything set up perfectly. Your Oracle casting the Revelation, the Mothership Core protecting your units, the High Templar position. There's no reason to run headlong into trying to get these attacks down,
Yeah, absolutely.
And I didn't see the start of that attack, but man, to have your High Templar caught out in front like that with a fungal, that should never happen. If you've got an Oracle casting Revelation, if you've got a Mothership covering your units, you've got Tempest firing. So that was a bit of a misstep on Huck's part. I'm not sure why he was so... Because he's played the rest of this game really well.
If we look at it, if we look at it from Huck's perspective, one of the things that he might have been taking into account is, I killed both spires, I killed the infestation pit, I killed all his tech.
Sure.
If I can trade somewhat efficiently, he's gonna have a lot of trouble
Reinforcing his army. Sure,
reinforcing.
definitely.
So, that could have been his thought process, and there's a lot of things that go into account. Huck
Sure.
probably knows all the things we're talking about. He probably felt like this was his best shot. He doesn't have all the information we have either. So
And to come back a little bit, we were being pretty hard on Huck. This game is far from over. The Zealot Harass is doing a lot of damage. He was able to take out the entire main and natural. Even though they were mined out, all the tech had to be replaced, which is really annoying. The third, too.
yeah,
It's
and
annoying
that
to have
doesn't
to
show in the
replace.
units lost tab.
Really?
So, well, I mean, like replacing the tech. He has to re-spend that gas and minerals.
Well, yeah, but why would you show that? You have to respend everything for everything lost. The resources lost tab.
That's an excellent point, Steven.
Thank you. I try.
Anyways,
Void Race. You have to
you have to
respect the Void Rays.
You have to
You
respect.
have to
the
respect
Void
the Void Rays. And right now, with the way that Huck is clumping them all up,
Oh!
he's not respecting his Void Rays, I don't think.
Yeah, fantastic fungals by Kane, and this is. I was going over this a little bit yesterday. It's incredibly hard for a Protoss player while moving to have their Void Rays pre-spread. It's almost impossible. They tend to clump. They're like mutalisks,
And
except they're slower.
Yeah.
Like, did he just kill his own Void Ray? Oh,
he keeps
He's not
leading
gonna-
out with the High Templar. He needs to not. Those High Templar have to stay back, man. Those Swarm Hosts are disgusting units. Free Locust running forward all the time.
Yeah.
Another great fungal. There are no High Templar here to protect this army,
Yeah.
and Kane knows it, so there's nothing to keep him from running forward, snatching up, 1 or 2 Void Razor carries at a time. He can almost just fight this head-on and win, I think.
Almost. The Voiders are really powerful, so
Definitely,
want to respect them.
Want to respect them.
Yeah,
that's
as much as you can.
That's a lot of corruptor.
Yeah, now he can.
That's
now he
a
can.
lot of
He got the
corruptors.
fungals in.
Yeah.
He got everything he needed to do, and now this is probably going to be game here. I don't see Huck coming back from this one.
I like to not call games early because I feel like it kills the excitement. So let's talk about what Huck can do to come back from here.
Okay,
with,
let's do that.
200 minutes. He is going to save the carrier.
He is going to save the carrier, and
Which
that's
is important.
actually pretty good.
Wait.
That carrier's corrupted. Oh my god, Steven.
It might actually not get through here. The corruptors are in fact
the
faster than the
corruptors!
carriers. Yeah,
Got
they
it.
got. Well,
Yep.
wow.
Damn.
That was pretty sad. I think that's probably the vanilla and coffin. If he would have saved that carrier, it would have given him a little bit of ability to defend against all the locusts. It would have given him a little bit of air superiority over Kane here. But losing that carrier, I feel.
I don't know
Probably.
if superiority is the right.
I mean, carriers are pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, Huck's still fighting. He, if he feels like he's traded a little bit better than he actually has, he might think Kane is not maxed yet, or remaxed.
Kane is
maybe.
still.
And Kane is not actually remaxed.
Yeah, I mean, he's pretty low on minerals. He's got the gas. As Kat said earlier, and I made a joke about it, but man, it is really annoying having to rebuild all of your tech Azure. Getting the lair, getting the hive, and like that's all money that could be going, towards units.
Really?
Yeah. Or static D.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, Kane, I think, is making a little bit of a mistake in not pushing the issue. I think he could have cut out Huck from his last mining base at this point.
Possibly. However, keep in mind everything that's gone on in this game. It seems like the player that steps out seems to be the one getting riled for it. So I almost don't blame him for...
Here's the thing, right?
Okay,
with
yeah.
Stormhost, right? I think right now he's doing it. He's repositioning his Stormhost to siege that base.
Mm-hmm.
The problem usually is if you spread your Stormhost too thin, then you're gonna have a weak area.
Definitely.
Kane no longer gives the slightest amount of shit about the top half of the map.
I agree.
So there's no reason for him to just defend and attack at the same time, like he's doing on the bottom half. All of his tech is there. His only mining bases are there. So this is what he needs to do right now.
Definitely.
Apply pressure and try to close the game.
And Huck needs to figure out... Oh, we have the probe pull.
Yep. Probes are pretty good against locusts.
Definitely.
One
A
shot.
great meat shield.
But yeah, I think Oracle would have been pretty important in this game. Mothership would have been pretty important in this game.
Definitely.
Um,
Just not moving
Tempests.
forward as much. Not moving his Templar forward on creep as much towards these locusts. He lost...
well, I mean, you want to move forward when you're starting to trade with those units, but
Yeah.
without those units in play, it's
Yeah.
really hard to trade.
You can
right?
you
You're
can never
attacking
have
into fungals.
you can never have the High Templar just sitting forward unprotected with
Yeah.
waves of locusts coming in.
Exactly.
It's always going to go disastrously for
Yeah,
you.
I mean, Tempests have the longest range, but the range is only
As good as the vision allows.
vision. Indeed. So, without that revelation, Huck having a little bit of trouble pushing in and making, since there's creep as well on the map, it pretty much makes the Infestor the longest ranged unit available, right? Because Kane has the longest ranged unit in the fungal.
High Templar were coming forward again, but he was
and
able to pull
division.
him out. The probes do their best efforts.
I'm not sure if he's respecting the Void Race.
Oh man, he's not respecting his own Void Rays. Oh, the High Templar come forward! Oh my, why does he storm? Why didn't he feedback? Oh, sorry. I mean, it happens. That Warp Prism would have been really cute if he would have dropped it and fed feedback like feedback.
Feedback.
Fedback?
Feedback.
Backfed?
Feedback.
If he would have owned all
Own
those
it.
infestors, it would have been really good. But instead he dropped storms. I feel like Huck has been morally defeated. Or not morally, but what do you call a defeat that's not like physical? What's the word I'm looking for? Mentally? No, there's like a better word for it. When you've worn down your opponent.
He's been...
It'll come to me later, okay?
Okay, good.
Okay.
Yeah, when you remember, just shout it, okay?
Got it.
You
Somebody's
promise?
going to tweet it at me, okay?
Okay, good.
That's a GG.
That is a GG.
Wow. I feel like Huck played that game really well.
I feel like he played it really well going into the late game,
Going into the late game.
especially given his position.
Definitely.
I think that Kane had a huge advantage
in the early game.
Yeah,
Definitely.
in the early game and in terms of unit composition. He had the better unit composition against what Huck was doing. He got the right read on what Huck was doing, and Huck was able to stay in the game and play the army composition that he had chosen. I think as good as you can play it.
Definitely.
Doing everything that he needed to head into the late game in a decent spot.
Yep. And he had the Warp Prism harass down well. The only thing that he didn't, the only stage of the game, and you can't really fault Huck for this, because how many times does a Protoss player, of all the games that you play, how many ZVPs honestly get to this point? Like, even in your stream, honestly, how many get to that point? Does it happen pretty often?
Yeah.
Really?
But that's me.
That's Cats. Okay. I'll play styles like this, but even for me, it's not that often that you get to this stage of the game, especially when you're a player like Huck that applies a lot of early pressure. You know,
Yeah,
a lot of those games will close out really early. So,
and I mean, it's not just Huck. I mean, if you watch
sure.
Pro League, most
Definitely.
Protoss, I will disagree with most Protoss unit compositions, for the most part.
Sure.
Against this sort of units, this unit composition by Surge.
Sure. So it is hard to get. That's a lot of control to get the Oracle Revelation down, to get the Mothership down to cover your units. Like, not many Protoss get a lot of practice in those super late
and also it's important
so.
to note the Colossus timing by Huck. You know, he went for like 8 or 10 Colossus, which is, in my opinion, the right number if you want to try and break the Swarm hosts,
Sure.
right? If you want to go in for the kill, then that's about as many Colossus you need and the Gateway reinforcements. But Huck didn't go for the kill so much. It was so late that I don't even know that he could have gone for the kill or tried to.
Sure.
So he committed a lot of resources into a mid-game unit composition, only he had it so late that, you know, it was...
Yeah. Good game played by both players. That was a really good game.
It was a pretty good game. Enjoyed it. Did you enjoy it?
If you did enjoy it, tweet at us, hashtag, what's our hashtag for this tournament?
We can make it up right now.
What have they been hashtagging so far?
What have you guys...
What have you been hashtagging so far? Hashtag that some more.
Do it.
Yeah. Get your friends to do it. Get your mom to do it.
Why not?
Get your sisters to do it. Get your brothers to do it.
Yeah.
For some of you out there, you can get your children to do it. I know that I have Nathan at home tweeting right now. I think.
Yeah. He goes on Twitter?
Yeah, all the time.
I'm not sure he wants to go on Twitter and look up his dad. That might be a bad idea.
I think my Twitter is usually pretty good for the most part.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of how many jokes we can make that line before we start to get into the NSA list territory. I guess in one way or another, we're all on some kind of NSA list, though, so does it matter? Does it really matter?
Sure.
Sure. The Huck is switching accounts. Clearly, about to bring out the big account.
Yeah, it's a sign of good luck.
Sign of good luck.
So
Definitely.
I mean, he's gonna bring in the big guns. That's for sure. And yeah, hashtag. Actually, we're gonna go to a short break right now.